we think about modifying the offering mix and deciding, how do we change our products or add new products. The probably best way to think about this is through the product life cycle concept, which we've seen in other courses, of course, where we have our 4 stages. The product is introduced, people are just starting to buy it. Then we have the growth stage. We have, the most rapid increase in sales there. And then the maturity, sometimes called saturation stage, where oftentimes we see a plateau, and the charts that we can fit on a screen are not actually generally very accurate. We usually see that this maturity stage is not just the longest stage of all of them, but significantly longer than all of the other stages. And then finally, at the decline stage, where we see the sales start to go down. So a lot of times we really just introduce these concepts, but what do they mean for us in terms of marketing strategy? So for the introduction stage, our focus really here is on stimulating trial. We want people to try the product for the very first time, right? It's a new product. We're just introducing it to the market. So how do we do that? 3 ideas. The main one is going to be advertising. Advertising will be probably the biggest marketing spend in this particular stage. We're trying to get people to be aware of the product and also to try the product. So that advertising is really critical here. Okay. We know that a lot of products end up failing. And so, a lot of new businesses, new innovators that are not, they're small businesses. One of the areas that people kind of feel like, oh, well, I could just do social media advertising. I don't even need to pay for it. It'll be free because I just don't have an advertising budget. Is kind of short-sighted thinking, really. If you do not have brand awareness and getting people to actually try your product or try your service for the first time, then you're going to be in real trouble with actually having a sustainable business. Okay, so again, this is advertising. This may be signage, whether that's, an end cap or a display at a grocery store for products, whether that's really high quality and good and easy to read signage for a storefront if you're opening a store or a salon. But really that advertising piece is probably the most critical here. But other strategies would include things like giving out free samples. There are some companies that actually will send free samples in the mail to different lists of customers. Other ways we might be able to give out samples would be to attach it to another product. So sometimes you'll see like a shampoo that has a new conditioner that's in just and like a really tiny trial sample that's attached to it, a limited time, free sample of the new smell that's coming out or whatever. This could be, you could have, they used to have door-to-door salesmen who would go door-to-door actually selling vacuum cleaners. I don't think that's still around. But they would go and they would actually vacuum people's like one room and then show them, how well the vacuum works. So they got to try it for free before they even bought it. And then the final thing is obtaining adequate distribution. So this kind of goes back to the advertising piece, right? If people don't know about it, they're not going to try it. But if people can't find it, they're also not going to try it. And so you have to be really clear on who your target market is so that you can know where is it that customers are going to expect to find this product. If they go to Walmart to get this new product and it's not there, you're probably, unless you have really, really done a good job on that advertising piece and made it so that they're willing to, travel around to different stores to look for this product, you're probably probably not going to end up with that person, that customer trying again, right? It's going to be one and done. We see this a lot with like new, like local stores that open up. One of the things I notice is that sometimes they have odd hours, which makes sense from on the business owner standpoint because maybe they are working another job and so they can only have their new store open at certain times, or they're trying to reduce labor costs like we talked about previously. It's a big expense, and so they just don't feel like they can be open from the full 8 to 5 or even 10 to 7 or whatever. And so if, let's say you go and you want to try this new store out, but they are only open from 10 to 3 on Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday, and you're there on Wednesday at noon. The chances that you're going to really make the effort to go back to that store, you might give them one more chance. That's probably it. Restaurants also, I've noticed, do this a lot of like new local restaurants. I've noticed have this thing with the hours that they're open, right? And that lends itself to, is there adequate distribution? Okay. So the advertising and the adequate distribution really have to work together. People have to know about it, and they also have to know where to get it, right? Tell them, where can you purchase this product or service? Maybe it isn't in a physical store, but it's online. So your website better be up and running as soon as that advertising rolls out, right? All of those things really have to work together. And the other thing I want to note in the introduction stage is the issue here is that most of your sales are due to people just trying your product out. These are not a lot of repeat purchases in this stage. So in the growth stage, this is where we are have increasing sales due to those repeat purchases. So we have obtained adequate distribution. We did a good job advertising, and now people are coming back to purchase again. Okay, so our objective here is to retain those repeat purchasers. Okay. So here we may be at that point where generally the growth stage is where we generally see the competitors start to enter the market. So we may have to make adjustments to pricing, especially if competitors came in with a very similar product or service at the same or lower price. Now, we might be able to combat the pricing issue if we really are focused on our brand image here. So again, really, the advertising piece is going to be important again in this stage to continue to focus on who we are as a brand, and really make it clear as these competitors enter the market, how is it that we are unique from these other guys that just entered the market. And then finally, this is a stage where we might start to consider making modifications to our product. Is it, we are a restaurant and we need to change our menu a little bit? Is it that we are a new boutique and we have noticed that, clothing is selling really well, but we try to stock some like makeup brands and that's not going so well. So where do we need to, what modifications do we need to make in terms of the products that we're offering? Maybe we realize that we're a boutique downtown and we're not having much luck on clothing, but we figure out, we do some market research and we figure out that we need to modify the store itself because we don't have fitting rooms. And so people aren't able to try those clothes on before they buy them. This could be flavor modifications, right? If we have repeat purchasers, maybe they don't want to buy the same candle scent every time, but we only offer 2 of them. So we need to increase that as they're continuing to make those purchases. So next we have the maturity or saturation stage. Here we have an increase in the proportion, again, an increase in the proportion of buyers who are repeat purchasers. Okay. And as far as our objectives go, we are really trying to make sure that we keep those same buyers, we find new buyers for the offering. Now we're at that plateau in sales, right? And so we really need to focus on keeping our existing customers, but also looking for other buyers for the offering, right? So this could be that we make some slight modifications to our product or service so that we can focus on new buyers. So maybe our salon has focused, all on women's hair, which is very typical because women spend more on their hair care than men do. But we decided we're going to really focus on bringing men into the salon. Or maybe we have not done a very good job of offering our services to African American women, but we really have expertise in that area. Maybe we have, we see this a lot with like personal care products. We have created this line of, organic soy-based amazing like hand creams and lotions and that face wash and all that kind of stuff. And again, we've targeted predominantly women, and all of our scents of our lotions, for example, are fruity, right? On average, male buyers, do not prefer those scents. My husband has his lotion, and then everybody else has, fruity lotion, because that's just what I buy the most of. But Dove and a lot of the other major brands of skincare products have expanded their markets over the last probably 15 years to include a lot more products that are specifically targeting men. Okay. And then finally, we might try to increase usage frequency among current buyers. So this may be that we, emphasize maybe it's a safety issue or an expiration issue. And so we want to increase how often people purchase their new toothbrushes, for example. It could be that we actually, come out with this significantly improved new version of whatever the product is on a certain time schedule. So we see this a lot with mobile phones, right? Every about 2 years, all the brands come out with the next model, right? And so if we waited, all of the iPhone people are waiting for the next iPhone to come out, right? So if we waited 2 years, that seems to be a good balancing point, at least at this point, for people to be ready to purchase the new and improved model. If we made it 3 years, we could probably do the same thing, but they really got this down to a science for how long is it in between cycles, in between improved products, to really maximize sales. Okay. And, things like pre-orders and having really big events for the new and improved offering. And then finally, after, in many cases, a very long maturity saturation stage. Another example I really love in this category is Oreos. Okay, Oreos are absolutely in this maturity stage, but what they've done in probably the last under 10 years, really, they've really focused on a strategy of not just selling your traditional Oreos, but also having new and different seasonal flavors, right? So at Easter, you can get your Oreo with like the peak marshmallow filling. And at 4th of July, one time they had Oreos that had Pop Rocks in them for fireworks. And then, of course, you have your Halloween Oreos, your Christmas Oreos, and so on and so forth. But I really noticed an increase in the seasonal flavors for Oreos. And again, that's working on new buyers, adds an improvement or some modification to the offering, and potentially increases usage frequency, even among current buyers. So then we move to the decline stage. Here we have to decide, are we going to harvest the offering? So with harvesting, this is where we are going to cut resources, but not cut production yet. We're not completely done. We're not selling the product or the business off. But we're no longer going to be doing a lot of advertising and investing in improving the product. Okay? We see this a lot with products that like go along with another product. We still will produce, say, whatever cell phone cords they are until, even if there's a new and improved one, most people are buying until whatever the older model is really truly gone. Or we may choose to just divest, sell the line to someone else, or shut it down altogether.